Amazon, Etsy, Uber Eats.
Yeah.
What do all of these, massive platforms actually have in common?
Oh, they don't own most of the stuff they sell to you.
Exactly. They're essentially just the landlords of the internet. And if you've ever bought anything online recently, chances are you were interacting with a multi-vendor marketplace.
Oh, absolutely. It's a massive shift in how e-commerce operates today.
Right. And the topic of today's deep dive is an extensive guide to over 20 of the best multi-vendor marketplace software and tools in 2026.
Which is such a crucial topic because the traditional model was so linear.
Yeah.
You buy inventory, you stock it, you sell it.
Yeah, a total headache.
Right. But now we're seeing this total democratization of the multi-vendor marketplace.
Yeah.
Where it's just a single website where multiple independent sellers list their own products or services and the platform owner. They just manage the tech and the rules.
Just the real estate. And the mission of this deep dive is to help you, whether you're a non-technical founder, an established brand, or just insanely curious cut through all the information overload.
There's a lot of noise out there right now.
So much noise. We want you to understand exactly how the digital malls of the internet are built and, how you could potentially build one yourself. Okay, let's unpack this.
That's it.
Because before we get into the platforms, the scale of this shift is just staggering. The source notes that over 50% of all online sales now come from these marketplace platforms.
Yeah, more than half the internet's retail economy. It's wild.
It really is.
And, when you analyze the data on the business side, businesses that adopt this multi-vendor structure are seeing 30% higher revenue growth.
Wait, 30%?
Yeah, 30% higher compared to traditional single-vendor stores. Plus, they scale so much faster because they aren't bottlenecked by physical inventory or fulfillment logistics.
Because they just manage the real estate. It's an incredible model.
It really is.
But let's start with the absolute ground floor here. Because if you're a founder who doesn't know how to code, building a digital mall sounds terrifying.
Oh, yeah. 10 years ago, you'd need an army of developers.
Right. But today, we have the no-code revolution. So looking at the landscape, Sharetribe seems to be the go-to starting point.
Yeah, Sharetribe is a fantastic example of lowering that barrier to entry. It's designed specifically for non-technical founders.
The people who want to launch immediately without the headache.
Exactly. Because it operates on a software as a service model, a SaaS model, so you don't have to worry about server hosting or online payments or security.
You're just renting a fully optimized digital building.
Right. You just bring the branding and the vendors. And from a pricing standpoint, it's very approachable. You can jump into a build plan trial for just $29 a month.
Wow, $29. That's practically nothing to test a hypothesis.
Yeah, and then as you grow, it scales up to around $299 a month, so it keeps your overhead predictable.
But, let's say Sharetribe's standard model doesn't quite fit. Maybe you're building something for a local community or like a government agency.
Right, we're taking a percentage of every transaction. Doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That entirely changes your tech requirements. So the guide brings up Arcadier as another no-code builder.
Yeah, Arcadier is super interesting. It's around $60 a month, and it caters heavily to local communities because it requires zero dedicated dev resources.
And the big differentiator is their revenue model, right?
Exactly. On their standard plans, they don't charge default transaction fees.
Which is huge. Like, if you're trying to convince local farmers to join your new digital market, telling them you won't skim off the top of every carrot they sell is a massive selling point.
Oh, absolutely. It changes the whole conversation.
Right.
But, both Sharetribe and Arcadier operate on that SaaS model.
Right. So you're paying a monthly subscription forever.
Right. But what's fascinating here is how these platforms democratize tech, but they also offer different ownership models. Like, if you want more control, the guide highlights Kart.
Yeah, Kart, the ready-made option. But it's self-hosted, which I want to explore, because a lifetime license for Kart completely changes the risk profile of the business.
It really does. Because with SaaS, you rent the store. The landlord fixes the plumbing. But with Kart, you pay a one-time fee between $499 for a lifetime license with 6-month support, up to around $4,999.
Right, and then you own the building.
You own the building, but you also own the plumbing. You have to handle the hosting environment yourself.
But the upside is it's built to scale. I mean, the source mentions it's been tested with over 1 million products.
Yeah, it's battle tested. It's for startups wanting to build the next eBay or Amazon.
So you trade that ongoing monthly tax for ultimate ownership, assuming you have the operational bandwidth to maintain it, of course.
Exactly.
But let's pivot for a second, because not everyone is starting from scratch.
Sure.
What if you already have a thriving single vendor store? Like you sell artisanal coffee, you've built an email list, and now you want to invite other local roasters to sell on your site.
You want to revolve the store.
Right. But if I already use WordPress or Shopify, do I have to tear everything down and start over with Sharetribe or Kart?
No, absolutely not. You never want to abandon an ecosystem that's already working.
That sounds like a nightmare, yeah.
Exactly. So for WordPress users, specifically those on WooCommerce, the solution is Dokan.
Okay, Dokan.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is it takes only 10 minutes to set up without any technical skills.
Wait, 10 minutes? That's wild for a piece of software that rewires how a website functions.
Yeah, just plugs right in. And the pricing flexibility is great. They have a free late plan to start, while their enterprise plans reach about $3,996 a year.
And how does it handle the vendors?
It gives every vendor their own customized front-end dashboard. They never see your WordPress backend. They just log in, manage their products, and handle their own shipping.
Wow, that's incredibly clean. But if the marketplace looks clunky, buyers are just going to bounce.
Right, which is why Dokan pairs perfectly with specific WordPress themes. The source mentions themes like Martfury, Urus, and Cartzilla.
Let's talk about Cartzilla for a second, because I notice it's built on a framework called Bootstrap 5.
Yeah.
Which sounds like pure jargon to a non-technical person.
Yeah.
But it basically means the site is hyper-responsive, right?
Exactly. Whether a customer is on a huge desktop monitor or riding the subway on their phone, the layout just seamlessly adjusts.
So nothing breaks and you don't lose the sale.
Right.
Now, what about Shopify? I feel like the biggest name in online retail should have this built in, right?
You would think so, but Shopify focuses on being a single vendor engine. To turn it into a mall, you need an add-on. And for Shopify, a big one is ShipTurtle.
Right, ShipTurtle, starting at $19 a month, I think.
Yep. And the standout feature there is the white labeling capability.
I'm glad you brought that up. Why is white labeling so critical?
Because your brand equity is your most valuable asset. White labeling allows you to keep your brand front and center.
Oh, so it hides all of ShipTurtle's branding.
Completely. From the vendor logins to the shipment tracking, your vendors feel like they're in your exclusive spoke ecosystem.
Which justifies the commission you're charging them.
Exactly.
But what if you're a massive enterprise on Shopify, like moving serious volume?
Then you need something like Onport.
Yes, Onport. I like to think of Onport as an air traffic control system for massive enterprises.
That's the perfect way to describe it. It completely automates vendor payments and inventory syncing.
And the mechanism is fascinating. It integrates directly with the vendor's own online shop, right?
Yeah, using APIs or CSV files. So if a vendor sells their last vintage lamp on their personal site, Onport instantly pulls the listing down from your marketplace.
No double selling.
None. But, that level of automation comes with a steep cost.
Oh, definitely. The standard plan starts at $1,000 a month.
Right. And that's just for up to $50K in gross merchandise value and 30,000 SKUs.
And if you need the Plus plan, it scales up to $3,500 or more.
It's a serious investment.
Which brings us to the heavyweights. The custom builds and the niche players.
The platforms for massive scale.
Right. Starting with Magento users, the guide highlights CedCommerce, which starts around $29 a month.
CedCommerce is brilliant for multi-channel sync. If your merchants are also selling on Amazon or Walmart, it keeps everything perfectly aligned.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh?
Yeah, looking at totally free software, the guide brings up Spree, which is an open source platform.
The old Spree.
But wait, if Spree is completely free, why does the source say it costs between $5,000 and over $100,000? That feels like a typo.
I know, it sounds contradictory. But this is the reality of open source. While the actual code is free, you are paying for the development setup.
Ah, so you have to hire the architects and the builders?
Exactly. You pay for developers, you pay for enterprise hosting, which runs $10 to $500 a month. You pay for paid extensions and ongoing maintenance.
So it's ultimate freedom, but you need a serious budget or an in-house tech team.
Yes. You can build whatever you want, but you carry the entire technical burden.
Now, let's pivot to something incredibly specific. Because we also have niche platforms like Enatega.
Right, Enatega.
Which ignores general retail entirely and is uniquely designed for food delivery businesses.
Which is a whole different beast. It's a three-sided marketplace. You're connecting Customers, restaurants, and delivery riders.
Right, they all need their own interfaces, and Enatega handles all of that for a simple one-time payment of $1,997.
It really highlights how specialized this software has become.
Okay, so now that we know the tools, we need the instruction manual. How do you actually pull this off without going bankrupt?
That is the million-dollar question.
So the source outlines this 8-step blueprint to build a marketplace. I'll just rattle them off quickly. Define your niche, do market research, choose the platform, create a business plan, build it, develop a marketing plan, provide customer support, and continuously optimize.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, step 1 is undeniably the most critical.
Defining your niche.
Yes. You can't just build a general store to compete with Amazon. You will lose. You need a highly specific audience.
You have to solve a specific problem for a specific community.
Exactly.
And what does it actually cost to pull this off? Because the source gives us a really transparent estimated cost range table. Let's walk through it to get a realistic financial picture.
Yeah, let's look at the numbers.
So the domain name is cheap, right? $10 to $50 a year.
Very negligible.
But then website design is estimated at $500 to $5,000 or even more.
Because it has to look trustworthy.
Right. And speaking of trust, security features run between $500 and $2,000.
Which is non-negotiable. You're holding payout data for dozens of businesses.
Then there's marketing, which they estimate at $1,000 to $10,000 plus.
Because you have to attract both sides of the marketplace. You need to convince vendors to list and buyers to buy.
The classic chicken and egg problem. And finally, legal fees for contracts and terms of service, adding another $500 to $3,000.
So when you look at that whole picture, choosing your platform is really about balancing your upfront costs against long-term operational expenses.
Like deciding between a $299 one-time fee versus giving up a percentage of every sale forever.
Exactly. It's a math equation.
So what does this all mean?
Wow.
If we zoom out, whether you're looking to use a no-code tool like Arcadier for $60 a month or invest $100K into a custom spree build, the tech barrier to entry has never been lower.
It really hasn't.
You have the blueprint, you just need the business model.
And, I'd leave you with a final thought to mull over here.
Yeah, please.
When we think of peer-to-peer marketplaces, we usually think of physical goods.
Right, clothes, electronics.
But they aren't just for physical goods anymore. They're for time, for digital assets, and for hyperlocal services.
Wow, yeah.
So if the software is now this accessible, what untapped, highly specific niche in your own life or your industry is just sitting there?
Just waiting for someone to build the digital mall for it.
Exactly.
That's a fascinating perspective. The real estate is there. You just need to claim it. Well, thank you so much for exploring the mechanics of these digital ecosystems with me.
It was a pleasure.
And to you listening, the next time you're browsing an online marketplace, take a second to look around. You might just be inspired to build your own. We'll see you on the next deep dive.